Of all the things I thought might happen to Rockstar before GTA 6 launched, this was not on my bingo card. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. As always, I am Jonathan, your host here at QuickBird Gaming, and I appreciate you tuning in for this week's episode of QuickBird News, where we wrap up all the gaming events of the past week. Now obviously, the big news of the week is everything going on with GTA 6, all the leaks surrounding that and everything associated. We did have a few other stories this week. If you're interested in those and you want to skip ahead, you can always look in the description box down below where all the stories I discuss are timestamped, so feel free to scroll down and jump ahead to the next one of those. All right, now that we've gotten out of the way, let's get into the big news story. And man, this information just keeps coming every day, so I'll try to keep you as up to date as possible. This is the news as of Saturday, August 22nd, so let's get into it. Okay, I want to preface all of what I'm going to talk about by saying I am not going to show any of the leaked footage in this video. I'm sorry if you came looking for that, but Rockstar is understandably DMCA striking anybody showing this footage. I don't need a channel strike. And I understand it is still available on Twitter and Reddit and some other places if you go looking for it. But I'm just going to talk about the events and kind of what got us to where we are now. And I'm going to use this Dualshockers article from Friday that I think really summarizes things best. I'll also link it in the description if you want to get a more thorough read than what I kind of cover here. I'm just going to hit the highlights. Okay, so this said August 18th, it starts with the basketball. So that is going to be on Tuesday of this last week. This video leaked of the main character of the game, or one of the two main characters, playing basketball and shooting. Shows a little bit of the game mechanics, where it says here, he shoots a hoop outside, a focus stat boost for each successful shot. In the second clip, he drives on a highway, crashes into a van, gets in a fight, and so on. Picks up a 2-star police chase. Pretty standard GTA stuff. And a couple of map screenshots appeared. Now, the leaker claimed at this point this was from a 2023 build. The clip also revealed things Rockstar never confirmed: fuel gauge visible on vehicles, a karma system, button prompts for custom loadout, small details. Okay, and then on the 19th, on Wednesday, here comes the manifesto that dropped and more footage. 3 more clips arrive. Jason inside a strip club. What up messages. The game's in-game phone app. Him driving, stealing a security taser. A third clip introducing a stimulant that can be used in the game. The fourth clip's radio was playing Tate McRae's sports car released in January 2025, which people immediately interpreted means this was not a 2023 build of the old game. Now, this is where it got interesting. The leaker, known as Cyberleek, L-E-E-K, since he uses an onion for his logo, alongside the footage of manifesto. 3 demands: no more digital pre-orders, no more DLC from files already on the disc, and a mandatory offline fallback for single-player games, which Cyberleek tied the leaks directly to Take-Two's decision to release GTA 6 without a physical disc. So, even though, a lot of people have kind of poo-pooed the idea that not having physical discs don't mean anything, this guy's using it as his excuse for these leaks. Whether you choose to believe that is his real reason or not is up to you. A lot of people will say it's not. I'm just saying that on the surface, that's what he's saying. Okay? Then every single clip came stamped with advertisements for the Cyberleek cryptocurrency token. And his market cap was over $1 million at the time of this. And this is why people think it has nothing to do with any high-minded notions of trying to force game companies into physical disc release. This dude is out for a buck. 2 things can be true at the same time. I don't know. It's all speculation. They probably won't know if or until they catch him. Okay, then August 20th, so this would have been Thursday, the build is confirmed. A new clip appeared, Jason shooting the word leak into the side of the building with bullets. This isn't test footage. The dude is playing some kind of viable build of the game when he's able to custom generate his own footage. Now, there's always going to be the caveat people assume it was AI'd in or some other, video shenanigans to simulate it. Again, who knows? I'm just reporting what's been said. Another clip followed, Jason flying a plane above Vice City with the city visible below. And then on and on and on. Okay, and then the silence it wasn't on Friday. 24 hours passed with nothing. Most assumed he had been caught. And then a 6th clip titled Hypercar appeared the following morning anyway, showing him breaking a car window, dragging the driver out, and driving through the city. Then the usual crypto stamp, the Cyberleek can't drive. So, of course, now this has been massively embarrassing for Rockstar. It has created a whole absolute firestorm in the industry. And as somebody who is not going to be playing GTA 6, and I've gone into the reasons why. The principal one being I don't play on console, and this game's not going to be available on PC for who knows when, so it's not really an issue for me. I'm kind of outside this whole clown show, watching what goes down. Now I'm going to talk about a few other things that have happened. I'll offer my opinion on things at the end because clearly this is what I've just told you is not the end of the story. This is just the facts of how it happened, but all the second order effects are extraordinary. Well, one of the first effects that happened was that Take-Two took it in the shorts on their stock price. Rockstar's parent company, according to this article from Insider Gaming from Thursday, the 20th of August, they lost $2 billion in value following the leaks. And it was actually more than that because they said at the time of writing, Take-Two's stock price was $232.84, down from $248.13, a $15.29 per share drop. And Take-Two has lost $2.83 billion in market cap in 2 days. Now, this is not any kind of death for the company. As the article says, they're worth something between 40 and 45 billion. So it's not that big a deal. But I bring this up for two reasons. The first and most minor reason is I just think it's amusing that in a 2-3 day fluctuation, Take-Two lost more value, lost 3 times as much value as the entirety of Ubisoft, which just tells you what a behemoth this company is. That's the first thing. The second thing is this to me is a good indicator of why investors are really dangerous for the games industry. Now, hear me out. I understand that sometimes they're a necessary evil to get market capital moving to get games made. The problem is investors by nature are extremely skittish. This amount of leaks, anybody who really knows the games industry and is paying attention, these leaks are not going to have, they know they're not going to have an appreciable effect on GTA 6's sales unless there is a full build, playable build of the game released, of the game in its end state that gets out there, right before release that people can find and easily download for free, that they can use on a PlayStation or an Xbox that will accept it. That scenario overall seems very unlikely. Unless something like that happens, this game is still going to sell millions of copies. But investors who don't understand this industry don't get that. They just see leaks and they panic. Now, I'm going to flip over to the stock ticker. This is where it was as of Friday at the close. It recovered about half its value. Here was the bottoming out on Thursday, and then it came back up. But this is why investors are dangerous for this industry, because investors by nature are skittish. They're trend chasers. They are looking for that fast buck and everything they can do to keep things going upwards. They don't really have the long-term health of the industry at heart. They will plunder it and burn it down to make their money and move on to the next industry. That's why we got to be very careful, again, who we invite into it. But that's allowing me to get sidetracked. Anyway, the upshot of this is these leaks have had a tangible effect on Take-Two, even if it's only momentary. Now, Rockstar, for their part, is not taking this lying down either, as you can see from this Video Game Chronicle article from Friday the 21st. Take-Two files subpoenas asking Microsoft and Discord for records in the hunt for this GTA 6 leaker. And they say that it is using the law to try and track down the individual. The company has filed a number of subpoenas in federal district court petitioning Microsoft and Discord for the release of records related to online accounts, posting and sharing leaks of the game. So they are going into the U.S. court system and asking basically for the courts to force these companies to hand over their records so they can find out who this guy is. And of course, down here they say, that they sought to identify the infringer, and such information will only be used for the purpose of protecting Take-Two's rights. Yeah, that's bullshit. We already know that any information they get is going straight into their data repositories. At least that's what I think will happen. So, they say that, but I'm skeptical. Anyway, so they are trying to use all of their legal means to track down who Cyberleek is, whether a person or a group, and they're going to try and put the pressure on them. At the same time, I'm going to reference this Games Radar article over here, also from Friday the 21st. They said the GTA 6 leaks won't change Rockstar's Netflix reveal plans. They are still pressing ahead with their gameplay reveal that they had scheduled for Thursday, the 27th of August. They're still going to put that up. Remember, it's going on Netflix 6 hours before it's available on other channels. I personally wouldn't get a Netflix subscription to see something 6 hours early. You do you. But that's what they're doing. They're not changing their marketing. They're trying to bolster internal morale. This article references a memo that went from leadership out to the rank and file saying, look, you've done good work. Don't let this leaking discourage you. So Rockstar is forging ahead with their plans for marketing, and they are at the same time trying to apply legal pressure to see if they can nail this guy. For his part, Cyberleek doesn't seem to be backing down either. This just broke today on August the 22nd on Saturday. This is from Insider Gaming. GTA 6 leaker posts 7th gameplay video, shows more cars and the strip club. And the article goes on and details some of the things that can be seen in this latest gameplay video. However, more ominous than that, I'm going to flip over to this Gaming Bible article, and this was also posted today. Prolific GTA 6 hacker threatens to drop entire playable build to millions of gamers. Now, and they've basically shown routine stuff by now, but this is what they say down here. 5 days away from the gameplay revealed, they're threatening to leak it early. Cyberleek has the build. It has had it for some time. It no longer lives in one place. Copies sit on drives and servers spread across the globe in places Take-Two cannot reach. There's nothing left to seize. No server to raid. There are only copies, and none of them take orders anymore. Silencing Cyberleek would accomplish less than nothing if anything happens to it. If it ever misses a morning, the cancellations end on their own. Nobody has to press anything. The release simply stops being canceled within days. GTA 6 will be running on the personal computers of millions of gamers around the globe. Complete, permanent, no refund, no patch, no alternative. Rockstar's best bet is to tread lightly. The schedule has no end date. It resets every morning forever. Tread lightly. A lot of people would call that bravado, but it certainly appears like they're trying to throw down the gauntlet and basically dare Take-Two and Rockstar to do anything. The thing is that Rockstar is doing what they have to do. They have to do this. I'll touch on this in a few minutes when we get to the end. I've got a couple of points to make about this whole scenario. But it seems like while Rockstar and Take-Two are applying legal pressure, Cyberleek, at least verbally, is doubling down. These leaks, of course, have absolutely split the gamer community, with a lot of people praising this, saying Rockstar is getting what they deserve. A lot of people saying this isn't going to help and that the people doing this are chuds. On and on and on. People are at each other's throats, even to the point that major organizations are coming out on different sides. I referenced this Eurogamer article from Wednesday the 19th, where they say Stop Killing Games urges people not to support GTA 6 leakers who declared gamers' rights their motive for action. Don't send these people your money. I can actually kind of sort of get behind that message. I'd be wary of sending anybody my money claiming they had more information on GTA 6, despite the hype, no matter how bad you want to play it. Giving your money to anonymous people is never really a good idea. And this cryptocurrency, we've already seen repeatedly how often they can boom and bust. It's what's the word I'm looking for? A pump and dump type of scheme. So I would always be wary of doing this. Now, Stop Killing Games, I'm sure, is worried that what they view as their legitimate work is going to become tarnished by the actions of these people by association. So they have that stance on this. At the same time, I flip over to this Game Rant article from Friday where it says the hacker group Anonymous has commented on the GTA 6 leaks, and their essential comment was here where they said, all these people who have been trying to hunt down the GTA 6 leaker, imagine having zero shame doing free detective work for $1 billion corporation that couldn't care less about its consumers. They are taking the angle of basically against a corporation, which is what they are always going to do. There have been a number of people on places like Twitter and on Reddit who said, I think I know who Cyberleek is. People trying to put together information, people trying to collect who this person or group of people may be, and Anonymous comes out to mock them. So this whole situation has just thrown everything into a tizzy. It's brought all of the usual and unusual suspects out of the woodworks to comment on it. It's just crazy, man. And because the story just isn't bizarre enough, I have this PC Gamer article from Friday the 21st. The GTA 6 leaker is selling ads now. Apparently it put out a message that said for the crypto equivalent of $165,000. You can have a discussion about putting your ads for your product or your company in their leaked videos, which, I mean, you got to admire the sheer brass ones on this guy or set of people. Yeah, this has some serious nerve to do this. I can't imagine any company would want to tie themselves to this for reasons I'll get into in just a minute. But the fact that they are willing to put it out there and say this, like I said, nothing about this situation should surprise us at this point. All right, so what are my thoughts on this whole thing? Well, I have 3 points, and I'll start with the first one, and that involves Cyberleek himself or themselves. If this person is somewhere in the West, I believe they're going to be caught eventually. I think a lot of people underestimate just how good the surveillance state actually is already, let alone flock cameras moving in and stuff like that. There is going to be digital trails of everything this person or these people have done in the Western world. And I think they ultimately will be caught. And if they are, they're going to get flung in a hole for probably ever. The guy who hacked, or not hacked, but the guy who leaked stuff in 2022 was in Britain at the time, and he got put in an indefinite hospital hold, supposedly for severe autism and threatening to do stuff again, and has only just this year been moved to prison for a regular trial. Rockstar or Take-Two rather, is a multi-billion-dollar gigantic company. They have the financial pull and the lawyers and everything else to really put pressure on and they're going to end up actually have the collusion of the rest of the tech industry to help them solve this, because other tech giants are going to see what's going on and they're going to say, shit, this could have been us. We don't want this to happen to us. They're going to work together. If you want to say against us, the little people, that's fine, but they're going to work together to protect their own interests. So I think that this dude is in the West. He's living on borrowed time. Now, the flip side of that is if this person or these people are somewhere in Russia, if they're in China, or in maybe in India, jurisdictions that don't necessarily recognize the laws of the West or are not real keen on things like extradition, they may escape. There may be nothing that can be done to them, and their identities may never be known either. So this is just, we're going to have to wait and see if this unfolds. But I believe if he is in the United States and Canada, Western Europe, he or they will be caught. Okay, that's the first point. The second point is, and I'm going to put an asterisk on this, I don't think this is ultimately going to affect GTA 6's profitability very much at all. I said it earlier that Rockstar is forging ahead, and aside from they're putting effort into the subpoenas and trying to find out who this is, but they're going to forge ahead with their release and their marketing schedule, because what else are they going to do? There's no point in trying to stop it or delay it. They're going to press on as if things are going to work out, because they probably will work out for them. I think that they're going to end up still selling a bajillion copies. I'll talk about the asterisk here in just a second. They're going to sell a lot of copies. This is embarrassing for them, and it's created a lot of thrash and a lot of headaches, but I don't think it's going to affect the ultimate profitability of the game. Now, the asterisk to that goes on Cyberleek's threat to leak a fully playable build of the game to anybody that wants it. Leaking the build is only one part of it. The other part is getting it in players' hands. And again, we're looking at an East versus West thing. The East doesn't have a whole lot of respect for things like copyright infringement or intellectual property rights. And if it's being hosted on servers in the East and being downloaded by servers and people in the East, there's probably not a lot that can be done about that by Take-Two, Rockstar, and the tech industry at large. On the other hand, if it's being hosted in places like Russia and somebody in France or somebody in Canada or the United States wants to download it, IP blockages are a thing. And I think that if it does come out that there's a fully playable build with no license and no DRM that people can put on their PC or on a jailbroken PS5 or PS5 emulators, because those are getting to be a thing, and they can play, I think Take-Two is going to be very scorched earth about this. They're going to be doing their best to get in every IP's ear to block or to every internet service providers here, block IPs and go after any Western company that associates with this. Any torrent service is going to get investigated and dug into. Anybody that hosts anything where they can reach, they're going to go after them. So even with a playable build, I don't see you're just going to see a whole slew of people in the West playing this. Okay. If that turns out to be incorrect and I'm wrong, I will come back here and say I was wrong. But I just don't see that being the case. Third takeaway is this, and this is that game companies and tech companies in general need to look at this, and they need to shore up their goddamn defenses. Take-Two already suffered one of these type of leaks. Like I said, I mentioned in 2022, where a lot of information got out. And I think they changed some things. They basically pretty much ended work from home at that point, if I read that correctly. And they started taking care of a lot, trying to bring all of their work back into central repositories where it could be protected better. Well, evidently not. Evidently it wasn't protected better because this still happened. So there's, and people may argue about the fact, well, is it a true hack? Did they, get into the service remotely and download all this information? Was it phishing, human error, somebody opened a link they shouldn't have that gave access to the servers? We can argue the particulars all day long, but the fact is that Rockstar and Take-Two, and by extension, other gaming companies who are taking a lesson from this, need to look at their security systems and they need to shore them up. They need to identify gaps and they need to plug it, or this is going to keep happening. Even if Cyberleek is found and punished, they will not be the last ones. Other people are going to do this too. And I would not be surprised if somewhere out there in the darker corners of the internet, Cyberleek is detailing their blueprint on how they did this to other hackers. Now, I've seen speculation, people saying that this might have happened in India, where Rockstar has offices that worked on this game, and that because the protocols in India for security are not as tight as they are in the West, that's where the leak originated. I have nothing to substantiate that. It's just the buzz I have seen. So I don't know if that's true or not. Whatever it is, Rockstar and Take-Two need to identify the holes in their security, and they need to fix them, or this is going to happen again. And like I said, other gaming companies need to look at this too. There's that saying out there that says, a smart man learns from his mistakes, a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. People need to look at this and go, if it can happen to Take-Two, it could happen to us as well, and they need to fix things. So that's kind of my takeaways from this. I think dude's going to get caught. I don't think this is going to be the end of GTA 6. I think it's going to do fine financially, and companies need to look at taking care of their shit better. That's where I think we are. But boy, it sure does give us something fun to talk about, doesn't it? I'll enjoy these leaks just for the sheer news value. And if you are a GTA fan who's disappointed by this, I'm sorry. Don't be discouraged. The game is still going to come out. You'll still be able to enjoy it. If you're not a GTA fan, you don't care, just kind of sit back and have the Schadenfreude and enjoy the spectacle. And if you're neutral like me, hey, it's great content to make. Okay, we spent a whole lot of time talking about GTA 6. There's a few other stories I want to talk about. I'm going to hit them kind of hard and fast because this video is already really long. First thing up, it's this IGN article from Wednesday, August 19th, and it says, PlayStation reportedly reboots Horizon multiplayer spinoff following negative feedback. They've reportedly rebooted the live service game Horizon Hunters Gathering after negative feedback from playtest. Now, if you're unaware of this, Horizon Hunters Gathering is supposed to be a multiplayer online live service version of the Horizon game where players get together and hunt down dinosaurs. It moved away from the photorealistic style of Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West and is more cel-shaded, animated type of game. It's received a lot of criticism, just outright. Some people didn't like the character designs. Some people didn't like the animation style. Some people just are tired of live service, especially from Sony, who has this fetish with it and keeps trying to push it. But now they have had playtests, and they were very negative. So the game is being sent back to Formula to try and reboot. And it says closed playtest followed earlier this year with a launch across PlayStation 5 and PC expected to follow. According to Bloomberg, they've ordered a reboot from negative playtests. Worse, Bloomberg also said staff were told this week that Guerrilla has till December to impress PlayStation bosses with the game's next milestone. I saw it phrased as, you have until December to justify why we need to continue pursuing this, is how I actually saw it phrased in one report. So the game's not canceled yet, but it very well could be. And people have already been moved off this project into another project, unnamed which, but also from IGN that same day, Horizon 3 only has a tiny team working on it at Guerrilla, reportedly still years away. So if you're a fan of the Horizon universe, things are not going great there. Horizon VR was a marginal success at best. I think it did okay, but it wasn't gangbusters. Horizon Legos flopped. Horizon Hunter Gathering is in bad shape. Horizon 3 is still years away. So it sounds like things are not going great at Guerrilla Games, unfortunately. Okay, now we're going to flip over to talk about From Software and their game, The Duskbloods for Switch 2. And as this article from Game Rant from Friday the 21st shows us, their first network test got off kind of a poor start. And it says, the network test session is off to a rough start after server problems prevented many participants from even logging in and even forced From Software to end the first scheduled test session early. And it says down here in their message, we apologize for the inconvenience. We regret to inform you today's session is now closed. We will continue to work on improving the servers. And they said, unfortunately, many players struggled to even get far enough to test the game. Participants began reporting login problems shortly after the session started, leaving users unable to connect to the servers and enter matches. A lot of people were frustrated. Other people were more understanding, saying this is the whole point of a network stress test, to find these things out before the game is purchased. Regardless, this is a little bit of a setback for From Software, and this game, like I said, which is going to be exclusively on the Switch 2, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it's coming to any other platforms. But right now, they're still having some problems, and if you're interested in this game, if you're keeping your eye on it, know that it still needs to cook a little bit longer. They've still got to work out some issues. Okay, speaking of games that still need a little cooking, if you liked Black Myth Wukong, you need to go check this out. According to this Video Game Chronicle article from Thursday the 20th, a new 15-minute trailer of Black Myth Zhong Kui, I forgot how it's pronounced, shows this game's combat in action. And this trailer, which I will link down below in the description box, shows Game Science's next game. This is their follow-up to Black Myth Wukong, and it is amazing. Go watch the gameplay footage. You will not be disappointed. It looks like they have another banger on their hands. Now, they admit that this game is still several years out. They did a little experimenting with the aspect ratio. I think they said it's 21:9, so it looks very long and short. Long this way, short in height. I don't think they're wedded to it. They're just experimenting and checking and doing some different work with it. But it looks great. Go take a look. This just gives us something further down the road to check out, and I, for one, am excited about it already. Next is this article from Insider Gaming from Thursday, and it says 007 First Light surpasses 4 million copies sold. IO Interactive confirmed that their latest James Bond game has crossed 4 million sold less than 3 months after March. And it also calls the Tight game one of 2026's fastest-selling titles. So it's also slated to land on the Switch 2 later this year, so it will likely keep rising. Now, this is interesting to me because IO Interactive has actually had to lay people off, although I think that was the result of a canceled project with Microsoft that didn't come to fruition, not because of this game. The other thing is that Amazon now has the rights to this character, and they've said that they want to have a greater hand in future game development. Now, Amazon's game development history has been pretty rocky, so them getting involved with this is not necessarily a good thing. But for people who enjoyed this game, for anybody that was interested in it, it has done well. Probably means we'll see sequels in the future. Whether those sequels will be worth it or not is TBD. But sometimes we got to take the wins where we got them, enjoy the success where we can. So, 007 First Light passed 4 million copies. Thumbs up from me. A bit of disappointing news coming to us from GamesIndustry.biz on Friday, and the headline reads, Riot Games sunsets active development on 2XKO as it costs substantially more to operate than it brings in. They will end active development of its free-to-play fighting game in December, I believe based on League of Legends. They said servers will remain online beyond 2026. Now read that very carefully. That means that they could shut them down January 1st, 2027. I figure it will be 6 or 8 months from now. They will announce the server shutdown of this game. They're not just going to sunset development. They're going to sunset the whole project. Offline play will not be affected. It will stay free and playable to download. And they said after reviewing its performance, Riot said it would have continued active development if it saw any viable future, but the game costs more to operate than it brings in, and engagement has stayed relatively flat. 3 additional patches are planned before active development concludes in December. Riot has also begun refunding all purchases made on or before August 22nd, or August 20th, I'm sorry. All KO points and starter edition purchases will be refunded, and so on and so forth. So they are not just sunsetting development of this game, but I think they're sunsetting it completely. Yet another live service style game headed for the live service graveyard. One of these days, these companies are going to learn, but probably not. See, this is the shit where I say I am in the wrong business. This Insider Gaming article from Tuesday the 18th, Star Citizen live stream goes wrong as devs look uncomfortable playing it. Star Citizen recently hosted a dev stream that had a bunch of hiccups with gameplay, developer interactions, and more, eventually leading them to end the stream. The developers of Star Citizen have raised over $1 billion in crowdfunding since the game's announcement 14 years ago.
What the fuck, y'all? God damn! God damn! God damn!
Okay. Anyway, despite this significant amount of funding and lengthy development period, the game remains in a rough state. They try to showcase. They had all kinds of problems. The team themselves struggled with various aspects of the game, including weapons and inventory management, all kinds of bugs, and then they end the stream early. Unsurprisingly, people were not real happy about that. They were expecting a more polished, more finished product. I don't even know what to say. I would say, in a game that literally tries to tout owning ships and charging thousands of dollars for them, not game dollars, real dollars. Sometimes you get what you deserve. All right, after I talk about $1 billion boondoggle like Star Citizen, it's nice to talk about a small team that is doing something right. And this Games Radar article from Tuesday the 19th or 18th, the devs who spent 5 years making a Bioshock-like horror shooter can't believe its Steam reviews. I truly expected my game to flop. The creator would have been okay with mostly positive. Now, this game called Twisted Tower, and they said they were working on it for several years. As of this article being written, they were sitting at around 400 reviews. They needed to get to 500 with a 95% mostly positive to earn an overwhelmingly positive. And lo and behold, as I look over here on Saturday, they do have overwhelmingly positive. 95% of over 1,000 reviews are positive. People are digging it. Like they said, it's a Bioshock aesthetic, but it's more of a straight shooter. And you can see by the action here, you're going through a very twisted amusement park, and it's out now. Game is nominally $15. It's $13.50 on sale right now, so it's 10% off. But go show these guys some love. If you love indie games, you like shooters, people really seem to be appreciating it. Overwhelmingly positive, isn't a common rating on Steam. So I'd say in general, players are receiving this very well. So it's nice to see a small team put out a product that people are really enjoying. So go check it out. Okay, that is enough out of me. I have certainly talked enough for one night. As always, if you did enjoy this content, please consider leaving a like on it. If you have anything to say about any of the stuff we talked about, especially all the GTA 6 news, if you think my commentary is fucked, if you think any of the other stories are worth mentioning, drop a comment down below. I do read all comments. I try to answer as many as possible. And hit that bell so you're notified the next time we do a news update. And again, if you're really enjoying it and you would like to subscribe, it only takes one click, and I appreciate that. It helps me out a whole bunch. Okay. That is enough out of me. I will be back next week with another news update. So until then, I thank you for tuning in. You all go out there, live your best lives, and you all stay gaming.